Farewell, my adored land, region of the sun caressed, pearl of the Orient Sea, our Eden lost. With gladness I give you my life, sad and repressed, and were it more brilliant, more fresh at its best, I would still give it to you for your welfare at most. I die as I see tints on the sky begin to show, and at last announce the day after a gloomy night. If you need a true to dye your mutinal glow, pour my blood and at night moments spread it so, and gild it with the reflection of your nascent light. My life's fancy, my ardent, passionate desire, hail cries out for soul to you that will soon part of thee. Hail how sweet 'tis to fall for fullness you may acquire, to die to give your life. This is Jose Rizal, 4th year in medical studies in Santo Tomas, the University of Higher Learning in the Philippines. Rizal was disgusted of its primitive method of instruction and the racial prejudice of Dominican professors against Filipino students. He was brought to realization that pursuing further studies abroad will be much better.
Jose, ba't ba parang ang lalim ng iniisip mo?
Gusto ko sana mag-aral sa ibang bansa.
Saan naman at anong bansa?
Sa Espanya, kapatid.
Sige, walang problema Jose. Ako nang bahala sa mga gastusin mo sa paaralan.
Salamat, kapatid.
During that time, the government of Spain was constitutional monarchy, where human rights were protected and considered, specifically freedom of speech, of press, and of assembly that were all denied in the Philippines. Such atmosphere of freedom lured Jose Rizal to travel to Spain, not only to study but also to carry out his secret mission that he long been conceived with the approval of his brother Pasiano. To observe keenly the life and culture, languages, customs, industries, commerce, governments, and laws of the European nations in order to prepare himself in the mighty task of liberating his oppressed people from Spanish tyranny. The departure of Jose Rizal for Spain was kept secret from Spanish authorities, friars, and even to his parents, especially to his mother, because she would not allow him to go. Only handful of family members and trusted friends were informed. In order to avoid detection, he used the name Jose Mercado, name of his cousin in Calamba. Before his departure, he scribbled farewell letters to his parents and his sweetheart, Leonor Rivera.
Mahal kong Leonor, gusto ko sanang magpapaalam sa iyo ng maayos at harapan. Pero mahal, sana maintindihan mo kung bakit ko ito ginagawa. Ginagawa ko ito para sa ikabubuti ng bayan. Mag-ingat ka palagi, mahal kong Leonor, at magbibigay ako ng sulat palagi hanggang sa muli nating pagkikita. Nagmamahal, Jose.
On May 3, 1882, he boarded on Salvador, bound for Singapore. He was the only Filipino passenger. The captain of the ship, Donato Lecha, from Austria, Spain, befriended him, although some Spaniards who spoke ill of the Philippines peeved him. To while away his boredom, he played chess and always came out victorious, for he was truly a good chess player.
May ginagawa ka ba, pinsan?
Sige. Wala naman pinsan. Bakit?
Pwede ba makipaglaro sa'yo ng chess?
Sige ba? Tara! Ang galing mong maglaro, Jose ah.
On May 9, they arrived in Singapore, checked into the Hotel de la Paz, and then spent a few days seeing the city.
Donato, naranasan mo na ba magpagrelasyon sa isang babae?
Hindi pa. Bakit?
Wala lang. Ngayon ko lang naranasan makadamdam ng ganun.
Ang ganda ng museo.
Oo nga.
Tara, puntahan natin.
They saw the famous botanical garden, the beautiful Buddhist templates, the busy shopping district, and the statue of Sir Thomas Stanford Raffles, who was the founder of Singapore. After days of staying in Singapore, Rizal boarded the ship Demnan, which was a French steamer, and left Singapore for Europe on May 11. It was a larger and cleaner vessel, which carried more passengers. French was spoken on board, and Rizal attempted to converse with his fellow passengers in French. But he found out that his book French could not be understood, so he spoke a mixed Spanish-Latin and with the help of sketching on paper. By conversing daily with the French passengers, he then was able to improve his knowledge of the French language. On May 17, the Demnan reached Point Gallie, a seacoast town in southern Ceylon. Rizal was unimpressed by this town. The following day, the voyage resumed towards Colombo, the capital of Ceylon. After a few hours of sailing, Rizal reached the city. Rizal was amazed by Colombo because of this scenic beauty and elegant building.
Pwede magtanong,
Pwede, ano ba yun kaibigan?
anong pangalan sa hayop na yan?
Itong hayop na to ay sikat sa lugar. At ang pangalan ng hayop na ito ay Camel.
Ay, grabe. Ngayon lang nakakita ng isang camel sa mainit na disyerto. Sige, maraming salamat sa kaibigan. Paalam.
Walang anuman kaibigan.
From Aden, the ship proceeded to the city of Zeus, and the ship proceeded on its way to Europe. On June 11, Rizal reached Naples until he reached Barcelona and stayed for a while. Finally, reaching Barcelona on June 16, 1882, his first impression of Barcelona was unfavorable. He thought of it as ugly and dirty. Its residents are inhospitable. Later, he changed his impression and liked the city. He found it a great city with an atmosphere of freedom and liberalism. He also found its people were open-hearted, hospitable, and courageous.
Hola, señor. Bienvenido a Barcelona.
Hola, señorita. Gracias.
¿Puede tomar su pedido, señor?
Sí, siguro uno café con leche y uno origo.
¿Y eso tostado, señor?
Sí, señorita.
Here's your order, señor. Gracias. Thank you for waiting.
Gracias.
While living in Barcelona, Rizal received bad news about the cholera outbreak ravaging Manila and the provinces. Many people died and more were dying daily. Sad news was that his beloved Leonor Rivera was getting thinner because of the absence of her loved one. Also, Pasiano advised Rizal to continue his medical course in Madrid. Leading his advice, Rizal left Barcelona in the fall of 1882 and proceeded to Madrid. On November 3, 1882, Rizal enrolled in the Universidad of Central de Madrid. On November 3, 1882, Rizal enrolled in the Universidad of Central de Madrid.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Iho. Ano bang may tutulong ko sa iyo?
Gusto ko sana mag-enroll sa universidad na ito.
Ano bang kurso ang nais mong kunin?
Nais ko po sana mag-aral ng medisina na nakafocus sa ophthalmology.
Mag-antay ka muna. May ibibigay ako sa iyo na form at fill-upan mo ito.
So,
Bumalik ka bukas para makuha ang iyong schedule upang makapasok ka na sa Lunes, Iho. You are now enrolled.
He took up courses, medicine, and philosophy and letters. Aside from the two major courses, he also studied painting and sculpture in the Academy of Fine Arts of San Fernando. He took lessons in French, German, and English under private instructors, and assiduously practiced fencing and shooting in the Hall of Arms in San P. Carbonell. Rizal lived a simple life in Madrid and knew that he came to Spain to study and prepare himself for the service of his fatherland. He budgets his money and time and never wasted a peseta for gambling, wine, and women. On Saturday evening, he visits the home of Don Pablo Ortega y Rey, who lived with his son and daughter. Don Pablo has been city mayor of Manila. Rizal then had a love affair with Consuelo Ortega Perez, the daughter of Don Pablo. Rizal, being a lonely man in a foreign country and far from his national land, was attracted by Consuelo's beauty and vivacity. Their love did not flourish because he was still engaged to Leonor Rivera, and a friend of Rizal is also in love with Consuelo. Rizal completed his ophthalmological in Europe and became a skilled eye surgeon. He was inspired to study ophthalmology by his mother's failing eyesight. His expertise in ophthalmology allowed him to treat patients and perform surgeries, contributing to his passion for healthcare and helping others. Rizal finally began to fulfill his lifelong dream of caring for his mother's eyesight. He may have operated on his mother there, possibly performing an iridectomy as a preliminary to cataract extraction. In Hong Kong in 1892, he successfully removed the cataract from his mother's left eye. Several months later, he sent her glasses with her instructions to cover the right lens until he could operate on that eye. 2 years later, at Dapitan, he extracted the right cataract. He was dismayed by her postoperative course. However, as she disobeyed in his instructions and removed the bandages prematurely, he learned a lesson on the difficulty of taking care of family members. Experiences like this one may have formed the basis for the modern standard that surgeons should not operate on their immediate family. It has been said, however, that Rizal really only had two patients, his mother and his country. His dedication to both was clearly remarkable.